This video will discuss a new type of voice control tool and its potential for speech and language service delivery in the classroom. The device we'll be discussing today is Amazon's Echo, or specifically, Alexa. The video will answer the question of what Alexa is and what its capabilities are, how it could support differentiated yet inquiry-driven learning in the context of speech and language service delivery, how it could tie into the 4 strands of Ontario Elementary School Curriculum for Language, oral communication, reading, writing, and media literacy. Finally, we'll discuss how Alexa and similar devices could be used in future speech and language service delivery. So what is Amazon Echo anyway? Who is Alexa and what can she do? The following clip will give you an idea.
It's called Amazon Echo.
How's it going?
I'm just finishing up right now.
Is it on?
Oh, it's always on.
Can it hear me right now?
Nope. It only hears you when you use the wake word we chose. Alexa.
Well, what does it do?
Alexa, what do you do?
I can play music, answer questions, get the news and weather, create to-do lists, and much more.
Awesome. Wait, I want to try. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 3:27.
You actually don't have to yell at it, okay? It uses far-field technology so it can hear you from anywhere in the room.
Echo is pretty neat because it knows all sorts of things. All you have to do is ask.
Alexa, how tall is Mount Everest?
Mount Everest's height is 29,029 feet, 8,848 meters.
How can it know so much? It's so small.
It updates using the cloud. That's also how it gets its answers.
Just read that off the box, Tom.
Dad really likes that Echo just plugs in, so we never have to charge it.
Alexa, tell me another joke.
I wondered why the baseball was getting bigger, and then it hit me.
Sometimes Echo helps out when you least expect it.
Hey, Dad, how do you spell cantaloupe?
Cantaloupe. C-A-N-T... Alexa, how do you spell cantaloupe?
Cantaloupe is spelled C-A-N-T-A-L-O-U-P-E.
Good job.
Echo loves to play music and knows a lot of songs, and they always sound great.
Alexa, play my dance mix.
The playlist dance.
Alexa, stop.
Alexa, define annoying.
The term annoying means 1, causing irritation or annoyance.
Example, my brother.
Hopefully you're getting an idea of just what Alexa is and maybe starting to consider its potential in a classroom. So Echo is a voice-controlled personal assistant device. It's always on and ready to answer requests. Alexa is the voice inside Echo. It works by transmitting requests to the cloud and is activated when users say, Alexa. Alexa can perform thousands of knowledge-based tasks, including defining words, spelling words, setting timers, reading ebooks aloud, retrieving over 5.5 million Wikipedia articles, giving the date and time, controlling other devices, giving current information, and maintaining a to-do list. Most exciting from an education perspective, however, is that there are 5,000 plus free custom skills available made by private developers. Anybody can write a new skill for Alexa and make it publicly available. So, what I'm proposing that we do with Alexa is exactly what SLPs have been doing for decades, with books, board games, and even iPads. Take a powerful tool built for a different purpose and repurpose it to help achieve speech and language goals in the classroom. How do we do this? Well, we can do it by using Alexa's built-in capabilities, then finding custom tools or skills that reinforce concepts by providing information relevant to our targets, and even building new Alexa skills that directly target therapy goals. The Ontario Elementary School Curriculum for Language has this to say about technology in the classroom. Information and communication technologies provide a range of tools that can significantly extend and enrich teachers' instructional strategies and support students' learning, both for whole class instruction and for the design of curriculum units that contain varied approaches to learning to meet diverse student needs. So can Alexa extend and enrich language intervention with inclusive, varied approaches which benefit the whole class? I think the answer is yes, but it's important to consider which aspects of instruction Alexa can help with. Consumer voice recognition technology is still developing. It's not yet effective at answering complex analysis and application questions. If we look at Bloom's taxonomy, Alexa is most adept at recalling facts and concepts. It can also explain ideas and concepts pretty well, but not much beyond that. Essentially, Alexa excels at simple, factual, knowledge-based questions. On the flip side, what sort of help do students need? These can be divided into 3 categories: questions about facts and concepts, analysis and application questions, and assistance remedial questions. Of the 3 categories, Alexa is only going to be helpful with the first, knowledge-based questions. Alexa does not have the ability to apply knowledge in novel ways or answer most open-ended questions. Let's consider a fictional scenario where Alexa might be helpful. Mrs. Bloom's grade 3 class in Northern Ontario has been identified as a high-needs classroom. Scott, the district SLP with 22 schools to manage, has been referred to determine whether SLP-delivered whole-class language intervention might be beneficial. Of the 15 students, 7 have identified special needs. Daniel has a diagnosis of ADHD, primarily hyperactive, and dyslexia. Tia, Jordan, and Tariq are English language learners. Stephen and Tanner have diagnoses of social communication disorder, and Keith has a suspected diagnosis of dyslexia. Mrs. Bloom reports feeling very overwhelmed trying to provide differentiated instruction, and is worried that the whole class is starting to fall behind. So SLP Scott had previously introduced Mrs. Bloom to the Amazon Echo, and she agreed to trial it during class today. An Amazon Echo had been placed on every group desk, and the students are getting curious. In today's language class, Mrs. Bloom will introduce the concept of writing a factual recount of events. Students' task will be to write about the class's field trip to Niagara Falls 2 weeks ago. Mrs. Bloom has prepared a differentiated task based on individual needs and expectations. She has arranged the desks in groups and took care not to isolate those with identified special needs. She expects that, with support, all students will be able to draw and caption events from the field trip. Most students will be able to list experiences and facts about Niagara Falls, and some students will be able to write a first-person narrative about the field trip. After Mrs. Bloom introduces the lesson, Scott begins to circulate around the class and show the students how to interact with Alexa. Once students learned how to ask Alexa questions, and learned what kind of questions got the best responses, they began to address their factual, knowledge-based questions to Alexa instead of Scott and Mrs. Bloom. They both noticed that they had more time to spend on more complex questions and helping students who need extra attention. So these are the questions that were addressed by Alexa, factual-based questions. Which leaves us with these more complex, in-depth questions. And also the one child who's being disruptive. So what are our theoretical results in this scenario? Well, both Scott and Mrs. Bloom felt that Alexa helped to field questions, allowed students to get on with their work, and created more time to address struggling students. Individually, we can imagine how our fictional students might have responded to the experiment. In Daniel's case, students with ADHD may find Alexa motivating because it responds instantly to verbal requests and has limitless tolerance for high energy and multiple requests. In the case of Tia, Jordan, and Tariq, Students still learning English may enjoy the opportunity to confirm word meanings, look up synonyms, and test out their pronunciation on a non-judgmental partner. In the case of Stephen and Tanner with social communication disorder, students with pragmatic difficulties may find speaking with a computer less taxing than speaking to a person. Alexa might also motivate these students to adjust their speaking style in order to be understood by Alexa. Perhaps this would generalize to their day-to-day speaking style. In the case of Keith with the dyslexia, students with dyslexia might benefit from Alexa's ability to spell words orally. They might also take advantage of Alexa's ability to read e-books aloud and to follow along with a hard copy. So how could we use Alexa to take the next step for Mrs. Bloom's class as they learn about narratives? Well, if I were the SLP in this case, I would ask Mrs. Bloom if I could lead the next language arts class in order to reinforce the elements of a narrative. I would use the Alexa skill, the Magic Door, to demonstrate this. The Magic Door is an interactive choose-your-own-adventure game, which uses rich description to guide listeners on an adventure. Groups would have the opportunity to create their own slightly different narratives. This would allow students of varying skill levels to participate in the same activity together, while having slightly different tasks assigned at the end. The following video will demonstrate the Magic Door skill. Alexa, open the Magic Door.
Welcome back to the Magic Door. In front of us is a land of adventures that begins here, with 3 roads. One leads to the mountains, another leads to the sea. The last is a spooky adventure starting on a path into the dark forest. Oh my, there is also a special envelope here for us to open. Would you like to go to the mountains, to the sea, or to the dark forest? You could also open the envelope.
Go to the mountains.
We walk toward the mountains. There is a fork in the road leading to 2 paths. One is a dirt path leading into the forest. Another is a stone path leading to a flower garden. There is also a sign next to the road. Would you like to take the forest path or the garden path?
Take the forest path.
Okay, follow me into the forest. There are tall trees all around us. To our left, we see a path of pine needles leading into the trees. Ahead, off to the right, we see a ray of sun illuminating something shiny near some boulders. There are cobblestones leading to it. Should we follow the cobblestones, take the pine needles path, or stay on this dirt path?
Stay on this dirt path.
Okay, let's continue on the dirt path.
So the stories go on for about 15 or 20 minutes, depending on the choices the students make. Since there are dozens of different outcomes, it's almost impossible that the same group would come up with exactly the same story. So I would build a differentiated lesson plan around the skill, which took into account the variety of skill levels in the classroom. I would expect that all the students would at minimum be able to sketch scenes from the story and write short descriptions. I would think most students would be able to orally report about their group's adventure to the rest of the class. Finally, some students will be able to imagine and write a different ending for their group's adventure. So, is Alexa financially feasible for schools? And what are the costs involved? Well, for the full-size Amazon Echo, the cost is $179, and it's large enough for a whole classroom. However, some teachers may prefer to have multiple devices in the classroom. In this case, the compact Amazon Echo Dot, which is much cheaper at $49, would be a good choice. An external speaker can also be connected to it to make it louder. Note that it's not currently available directly from Amazon.ca, but it may be purchased at bnhphoto.com. Note that Echo requires a Wi-Fi connection, an Android or iPhone device for setup, and the creation of a free Amazon account. In an upcoming video, I'm going to review the top 10 most useful Alexa skills for SLPs. However, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.